Okay, we've been talking about Trump tax reform. Are they tax cuts? All of the Trumpists who are tweeting because they're angry that their tax refunds went down, and the fact that some of them are paying more taxes, but that many others don't realize that just because you get a smaller refund doesn't necessarily mean that you're actually paying more tax. That got us to a conversation on Trump's favorite Fox News show, Fox and Friends, yesterday, where they are just running PR interference for Donald Trump at this point. And this topic came up on Fox and Friends about all sorts of taxpayers, but Trumpists included, who have been complaining that their tax refunds are tiny or they owe money this time as a result of Donald Trump's tax reform plan. And what they did was, of course, the egalitarian populist thing, which was to blame the taxpayers for being too stupid to not adjust their withholdings at their job to account for the new tax rates. Now, this is completely disingenuous. I'm going to play the clip for you in a second. This is totally disingenuous because when the new tax plan rolled out, it wasn't simply left up to employees and employers to come up with new withholdings brackets, withholdings tables. The Trump administration published new withholding tables. Our payroll company, for example, at the David Pakman Show, called me and said, hey, we are putting in place the new withholding tables next pay run. Do you want to change them? And I said, no, just whatever the standard is, we want to do the standard. Democrats warned when this happened, be careful, because the Trump administration is putting out new withholding tables that will get people more money on a paycheck to paycheck basis. They're going to think that this is their tax cut, but in reality, it's going to affect their refund at the end of the year. Be careful about that $40 boost to your paycheck, because that might end up being $1,000 you lose from your refund at the end of the year. Didn't matter. And now we get to Fox and Friends yesterday telling Americans it's their fault and laughing about it.
Well, taxpayers are complaining as the average tax refund drops an average 8% from last year. But are you actually making less money?
Here to break it all down for you and what it means for your wallet, Charles Payne, host of Making Money with Charles Payne on the Fox Business Network. So, Charles, people look forward to their tax refund and getting back the money that they overpaid to the federal government.
Exactly. Here's the thing is, for the most part, the IRS is telling everyone that they just simply did not make the proper adjustments on their withholdings at the beginning of the year. So they've been making all of this money.
It's an IRS mistake.
Well, it's not necessarily their mistake.
Employer.
It's your employer or you. IRS actually put a lot of memos out. They even made it pretty easy to go on their website and figure it out. This is at the beginning of last year. Of course, most people didn't do that. So while people were obviously seeing fatter paychecks, they were still counting on that refund that they always got, which is interesting because you kind of hinted at it, that we would allow, the IRS to have like a $2,000 loan, our money, right? Hold on to it. Yeah, because we overpay. So people probably should consider making these adjustments anyway, unless you want to give the IRS $2 or $3 grand of your money to hold for a year. Maybe they can make the interest on it and you won't.
The entire sort of condescending attitude is just toxic. Yeah. How, anybody could have just gone to the IRS website and then looked at memos about withholding tables and tax rates and then contacted HR at their employer and made the change. How did not everybody do that? What are these people, stupid? So first of all, it's not Americans' job to assume that when a new tax plan rolls out, there are also withholding changes that are meant to be deceptive for political reasons. Okay, maybe we should be more skeptical. With Trump, we probably should have been more skeptical that, wait a second, maybe the withholding changes are meant to make me think I've just gotten a tax cut. And in reality, this is just money coming out of my refund. But the truth about the program of tax cuts or tax change is that the bottom 20% of earners in the country, like the bottom quintile, as we call it, they're on average paying $60 less in taxes per year, actual tax due, okay? Not withholdings versus refund. The bottom quintile is saving $60 a year. On average, some people are paying a little more, some people are saving more. $60 is the average. The next 20%, the sort of fourth quintile down from the top, is getting an average cut of $380. Some people are paying a little more, some people are paying a little less, but the average cut is $380. The top 0.1% is saving an average of $190,000 on their taxes as a result of Donald Trump's tax plan. So what I always go back to, Pat, is that, yes, it's important to understand the difference between a refund and tax due. Just because you get a smaller refund doesn't tell you for sure if you actually paid a higher or lower effective tax rate. But what we are all forgetting about when we see segments like this and segments about people who are living paycheck to paycheck, as so many are, is that whether you pay $60 more or $60 less or $380 more or $380 less, which makes a difference, but it's not a huge difference in lifestyle, there are people who have permanent tax cuts, the likes of which are saving them hundreds of thousands of dollars per year. That's not what the people who put this plan in place want anybody talking about.
Yeah, and that's why this Trump tax plan had an approval rating of about 30 to 40%, which is surprising given that you would think intuitively that Americans would want a tax cut, that they would be in support of it. I think that they now realize that this was really just a tax cut for the top 1%, the top 0.1%, and they got scraps, they got peanuts.
Yep, and we will see if it has any impact when it comes to voting. We may not. There is such cognitive dissonance and continued ignorance. And, think about all of the issues here that are confusing to people. Number one, this confusion I mentioned between tax paid and your refund. If you make 50 grand a year and you pay 10 grand in taxes, that's a 20% tax rate. If you have 12,000 withheld during the year and get a $2,000 refund, or have 9,000 withheld during the year and cut a check for $1,000. Either way, you paid $10,000 in tax on $50,000 in earnings. A lot of people don't get that. That's confusion number one. Number two, a lot of people aren't understanding the SALT limit, the state and local taxes limit, which is now $10,000 a year. If you are in a situation where you pay $5,000 in real estate taxes and $7,000 in state income taxes, that's $12,000. Under the new tax law, only $10,000 of those $12,000 are deductible. So if you're in a higher tax state or a state with higher property values, you are going to pay more as a result of the limit on the SALT deduction. And these are just a couple of examples. The real question is, how do we break through to give people the full story about what is actually happening with their tax rate, their effective tax rate, when you have the Trump administration running total disinformation propaganda campaigns and messing with withholdings to make it seem like people are getting extra money back, and you have Fox News and others sort of supporting that propaganda disinformation campaign for the Trump administration. It is really difficult to just explain these simple things. And it may lead to what we've been predicting for a long time. Despite Trump policy being bad for most of his supporters, they will vote for him again in 2020. And that's why we need to vote and we need to play the turnout game, convincing the Trumpists to change their vote, because Trump lied about their tax cut is simply not going to work. Let's take a quick break. I posted a behind the scenes picture to my Instagram today at david.pakman. Check that out. We will take a break and be back after this. One of today's sponsors, Sprezabox, is offering you some free stuff that I want to tell you about. Sprezabox is based in New York City. They help keep guys' wardrobes fresh without breaking the bank, because when you become a member of Sprezabox, each month you'll get a new box sent to your door filled with 5 or 6 stylish hand-picked accessories and pieces of clothing for men. It includes high-end socks, neckties, really nice sunglasses, wallets, watches, bracelets, high-quality pens and hair combs. It's really classy stuff that makes it easy to put a little more pop into your wardrobe without having to spend a ton of money. A subscription is just $25 a month, but your new box every single month is guaranteed to have items with a combined value of over $100. A couple of the things I got are a really nice money clip, a pocket square, and some great socks. Go check out the different things that they put in their monthly boxes. They have a lot of really nice looking stuff. Everyone in our audience can get 1 month totally free when you click the link underneath this video and use the promo code PAKMAN. That's PAKMAN.